Hi sewers and aspiring sewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Toyin, and in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful jacket you can see on your screen. So if this looks like what you're interested in, then you want to keep watching this video till the end. Good news is we now have streetwear size shirt available in kids size and in adult size, so you want to send a message to make a purchase for yours. Our fabric choice for this particular tutorial is a Chinos fabric, and we are working with the lighter texture. So I have about 2.5 yards of materials here. Then this is another measurement I'm working with. I'm working with an extra large size. So I went ahead to lay my fabric on a fold. What we have here is in 2 pieces, and I folded in my allowance at the front. So this is my allowance, and the allowance measurement is about 2 inches thereabout. So that is all you need for the allowance. So this is me measuring my allowance 2 inches on every side. So after that, the next thing you want to do here is to take your full length measurement. So because this edge is not straight, I decided to rule a line across. I came down by about 1 inch and drew a line across just like that. So from that line, I'm going to measure my full length measurement. So my full length measurement is 29 inches. So I added 2 inches seam allowance to your folding allowance. So what I have measured here is 31 inches as the overall full length measurement. So I'm just going to rule that line across just as you can see me do right here. Next here is my shoulder line measurement. So my measurement book, my shoulder line measurement is 20 inches. 20 inches divided by 2 is 10 inches. So I decided to mark 10 inches here. You can decide to add your seam allowance, but I decided to meet that point. So for my neckline width, I'm going with 2.5 inches as my neckline width. While for my neckline depth, I'm also going with 2.5 inches. So basically, I am working with 2.5 by 2.5 neckline measurement to help you understand. So after marking that point, I'm just going to mark a curve around my neckline with my French curve, just as seen in this video. From there, the next thing you want to do is to come down from this point by 1.5 inches because I'm making this for a guy, so I'm working with 1.5 inches. Then I slanted that point towards my neckline, just as seen. For my armhole, I'm going to be working with 9 inches. Then I decided to retake my shoulder measurements. This time around, I decided to measure 10.5 inches. I added my seam allowance to it. So I repeated the same thing at the center point here, and then I connected the dots together to form a straight line for my armhole, just as seen here. So I'm going to be forming a midpoint for this armhole. So my armhole is 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5. So that's my midpoint here. On my midpoint, I came in by 0.5. So I'm going to be connecting these lines together from this point here, from this armhole mark. I came in by about 0.75. Then I connected that line towards the center point. From this point, I connected it towards the center point here. Then from the center point, I connected it towards this other part here. So we have our armhole curve. The next thing here is my body measurement. On my measurement book, my body is measured as 48 inches. 48 inches divided by 4 is 12 inches. So I'm just going to be adding my seam allowance. So we have 13 inches here. So I'm just going to mark 13 inches down to the length area of my jacket. So after that, I'm going to just connect the lines together, just as you can see me do right here. So we already have a full shape of what we want to achieve. I'm just going to cut out what we have here. So after cutting, I'm just going to notch the center point here. The next thing I did was to place another fabric on a fold for my back bodice. This is my back bodice, and this is how you want to position your back bodice. So the next thing is to place the front bodice on the back bodice, just as seen in this video. So I make sure that the circumference or the width of the back bodice is equivalent to the 13 inches we measured for the front bodice. I hope you understand. So the next thing here is to properly align it together, just as I am doing in this video. So I left an allowance of about 3 inches at the top side of the back bodice, just for the shoulder extension. So on my shoulder here, I'm going to form a slopey shape with my ruler, and then I'm going to measure 1.5 inches as a shoulder increase allowance, which is what you can see me measure here. So I'm just going to mark that line across using this same ruler. Also on my armhole area, I'm going to connect the lines together, just as seen in this video. So on my neckline, I'm going to repeat the same neckline width measurement, which is 2.5 for my back bodice. then come down by 1 inch for my back bodice neckline. So I'm just going to use this ruler to mark a curve around my neckline. I'm sorry you can't really see what I marked here, but after cutting, I hope you'll be able to understand better what I'm trying to explain here. So this is what it looks like. I hope you understand better now. So I'm just going to cut the side equally with the front bodice, then cut the remaining part of my length equally with the back bodice. So this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead to cut my front neckline just as seen in this video, then notch this center point and put this aside. The next thing here is the sleeve measurement. The sleeve has a slit design which makes it quite unique. So for the sleeve circumference, I'm going to be working with 10 inches. Remember that our armhole was measured as 9 inches, so I added 1 inch allowance to 9 inches. So what we have measured as the sleeve circumference is 10 inches. For my sleeve length, on measurement book, my sleeve length is measured as 26 inches. So I am going to be adding 3 inches folding allowance to my sleeve. So 3 inches plus 26 inches is 29 inches. So I'm just going to mark that line across. The folding for the sleeve is going to be 3 inches. So from this point, I came down by 3.5 inches, then came down again by 1.5 inches. So on the second line, I'm going to measure my round sleeve. On measurement book, my round sleeve is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I added 1 inch allowance, which makes it 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches here. While on the down sleeve area, on my measurement book, my down sleeve is measured as 12 inches. 12 inches divided by 2 is 6 inches. So normally I was supposed to add my seam allowance to that, but I won't be doing that. I'm only going to add 1.5 inches to this 6 inches just for my sleeve allowance, my sleeve folding allowance. So once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do here is to connect my down sleeve towards the round sleeve. So my down sleeve, which is 6 inches, is going to be connected towards my round sleeve at the upper part, just as seen in this video. So from this second line here, I'm just going to use my French curve to connect the line towards my sleeve circumference, then turn it over to make a curve around the top side of my sleeve. So this is what we have. So for my slit allowance, I'm going to add 3 inches to whatever I intend to use for my slit allowance. My slit sleeve allowance would be measured as 10 inches in total. So I'm just going to mark 10 inches here. Then aside the marked line, I'm going to come out by 1.5 for my slit allowance. That's for my slit folding allowance. So this is what we have. So this is it. You can see that the extension is here. So I'm just going to connect the line together like this. I'm sorry you can't really see what I marked, but by the time I cut this out, you'll be able to get the description of what I'm trying to explain. So by the time I'm going to be folding, my allowance for the slit in total would be around 5 inches. Then you're going to see how I'm going to sew. That's why you should turn your notification so you can get notified when I drop the part 2 of this video. Next thing here is the pocket design. So for my pocket bodies, I'm going to be cutting out 4 pieces. That's why this is on a double fold. So for the pocket length, I'm going to measure 8 inches for the pocket length. While for the pocket width, I'm going to measure 6.5 inches. So this is the pocket length, which is measured as 8 inches, and I'm going to roll the line across. Then for the width, I'm going to measure 6.5 inches, which is what you can see me measure here. Then I'm going to also roll the line accordingly. So on the downside of my pocket, I'm going to form a midpoint here. Then on this end, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. Then on this other end, come in by 1 inch. So I'm going to just use my ruler to slant it towards the center, just as you can see. Then do the same thing on the other side, just as you can see. So from there, I'm just going to cut out the shape of what we have here. So you can see that the downside is looking like an arrow shape. Then the front side is just straight. So that is the design of the pockets. So I'm just going to cut out the remaining piece just as seen in this video, then open up the other part. So this is what the pocket looks like already. So we have 4 pieces of this, which is what we're going to be using for this particular design. So for the pocket cap, I'm going to place my fabric on a fold like this, on a double fold. Then I'm going to measure 3 inches on a fold, just as seen in this video. Then for the width of this cap, I'm going to maintain 6.5 inches, which was the same wideness we used for the pocket bodice. So I'm going to connect these dots together. Then I'm going to come towards this down part and form a midpoint again for this pocket. Then on this side, I'm going to come in by 0.5 inch. Then on this other side, come in by 0.5 inch again. Then connect it towards the center point, just as seen in this video. So this is what it looks like. So you can see that the downside has something in form of an arrow shape. So I'm just going to cut out what we have here. So this particular cut is for 2 pockets. So I'm just going to repeat the same procedures for the remaining 2 pockets. So if you want to step up your game in streetwear fashion, you want to learn how to sew neatly, you want to become a pro when it comes to streetwear, then you want to enroll for our online class training. The link is in the description, or you can actually copy the number on your screen to register. Please make sure that you are ready to register before messaging this number. Thank you. The next thing here is my collar measurements. We can't determine what measurements to actually work with since we've not sewn the jacket. So I'm just going to cut out something random. So for the width of this, I have 22 inches. So I'm just going to fold it like this. Then for the length, I'm going to measure 6 inches and mark that point. So for the length, I measured 6 inches, while for the width, I measured 22 inches. So I cut out 2 pieces of this. So dear sewers, this brings me to the end of the cutting process of this particular jacket. In the next video, I'm going to be taking you through the sewing process of how to achieve this jacket. So you want to turn on notifications so you can get notified when I drop the part 2 of this video. Do not forget to like, comment and share to your loved ones, and I will see you again. Bye.